When religious motives are injected around court orders, democracy is endangered or imperiled. You know this. When the Supreme Court handed a death sentence to Afzal Guru, some activists label this as an act of judicial killing. Yes, viewers. A terrorist who had dared to plan an attack on Parliament was turned into a martyr, an idol for others to follow. The slogan Afzal, "Hum sharminda hain, tere qatil zinda hain," pushed Muslim youth in the valley like Burhan Wani to pick up the gun. More recently, the Ayodhya judgment on the Ram Janambhoomi case was also communalized. The Lutyens' ecosystem lamented that the 5 justices had given a majoritarian edge to the issue. These are not my words, viewers. If you Google them, you will find very easily who they were uttered by, scripted by, and then echoed by. These views only serve to alienate the Muslim community, undermining their trust in the Indian state, which works, viewers, to empower everybody without fear or favor, especially our courts. This was a condemnable communal incitement, despite the fact that the Hindus had shown tremendous restraint by placing the matter entirely in the domain of the court. Yes, viewers, the Babri Masjid was pulled down, but after that, the Hindus protest the court's verdict. Acting on court orders, the local administration has said it will clear the 2.9 kilometer stretch corridor of public land adjacent to railway platforms. The residents of Haldwani's Gafur Basti have been given a week's time to vacate the premises, their encroachment, following which the demolition drive will be carried out to clear the land so that a cordon sanitaire can be created insulating the railway tracks. And this is a safety concern. And viewers, once again, it's the courts that have ordered the eviction. But despite the clear court order, the residents have vowed not to vacate their houses. Much like in Shaheen Bagh, thousands of residents, led by women, have taken out protests, vowing to block the eviction drive. In fact, several residents have told Times Now that even if the Supreme Court upholds the eviction drive, they will not budge. This is what I was told this afternoon by our reporter covering this entire episode. This very sad and unfortunate episode aimed at derailing the writ of the court, undermining our democracy, and creating a sense of false victimhood. But first, listen to this report.
Well, the demolition drive in Haldwani will now be heard in the Supreme Court on 5th of January. As per the residents of the area, they say that the demolition drive will affect over 50,000 people living in around over 4,000 houses. And all these areas that you are seeing will be demolished in the anti-encroachment drive which will be taking place. The railways have given them a time period of 7 days to vacate the area. The people over here are maintaining that they would follow the orders, but reallocation and help should be provided to them from the from the government. This is the school. This is one of the oldest school in Haldwani district. This particular government school will also be demolished. And in this anti-encroachment drive, along with private and government schools, several market areas will be demolished. I'll request my camera person to pan around and show the market area. You can see several shops are here which will be demolished under the anti-encroachment drive.
देखिए ये पहली बात तो इंक्रोचमेंट नहीं है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो मकान है, जो घर है, उनके पास कागज भी है, लोगों के पास पट्टे हैं, लोगों के पास दाखिल खारिज के पेपर हैं, लोगों के पास रजिस्ट्री है और कुछ लोगों के मकान यहाँ पर फ्री होल्ड भी है. तो इसको इंक्रोचमेंट कहना तो गलत ही होगा. बाकी हमारी मेन डिमांड जो वो है कि अगर रेलवे को जमीन की थोड़ी बहुत आवश्यकता है भी, अगर उसे चाहिए भी, तो पहले लोगों को बसाने का काम करे, ना कि उजाड़ने का.
2007 से रेलवे का नोटिस आया था. ये रेलवे अपनी मनमानी कर रही है जैसा कि 2007 में खाली एक गफूर बस्ती के नाम पर पूरे बनभुलपुरा को उजाड़ा जा रहा है। 50,000 की आबादी है। इतनी आबादी इतनी ज्यादा ठंड में कहाँ जाएगी?
Well, there you heard that the people are saying that the first step that the government need to do is to provide them assistance until and unless they would not leave their houses. I'll show you the market area. This is one of the major main market area in Banbalpur in Haldwani district, which the railways have said had encroached the railway land, and all these buildings that you are seeing along with the different shops will be completely demolished. The matter will be heard in Supreme Court on 5th of Jan, and till 7th of Jan they have time to vacate their residence, and after that, as railway has been announcing that they would be taking necessary steps to make sure that the anti-encroachment drive take place.
Now viewers, remember, it's the High Court that has ordered the eviction, and the residents are saying, compensate us, give us land elsewhere. So first you encroach, then you threaten the state, then you say that you will blockade any action unless you are given adequate compensation. Because it doesn't sound logical, but here is what is happening, and several opposition parties and activists are supporting them. I'll come to this in just a few moments, but here are the facts, viewers. So the charge is that the government's picking and choosing, that they have selected this particular basti because it happens to be Muslim dominated. The fact is, viewers, that the High Court has ordered the eviction drive, and I'm deliberately bringing to you the facts in this matter. Why? Because viewers, here on Times Now, we want you to be empowered with the truth. The other charge is, these people are being targeted due to their religion. Since they happen to be Muslims predominantly, they are being targeted by the Uttarakhand government. The High Court has accepted that the railway land has been illegally occupied. So this is not a question of anybody being picked upon because of their religion. There are, in fact, viewers, 20 mosques and 9 temples on this encroached land, and there are Hindu homes also. There are no only Muslim enclaves in this country. It's a mixed neighborhood, predominantly Muslim, but there are 9 temples which will also be flattened. So this is not directed only at one community. The BJP is working against one community and the poor. Again, one needs to very, very stridently put out that the demolition process has been initiated as per the High Court order. Now, like in several past incidents, several opposition parties and activists have decided to ignore what the High Court has had to say, ignore the facts, to slam the state government for communal targeting of one faith. Needless to say, this is a dangerous provocation. First listen in, and then viewers, we'll open this up.
जब वहां पर 3 गवर्नमेंट के इंटर कॉलेज हैं, 5 गवर्नमेंट के स्कूल हैं, इतने सालों से कैसा गवर्नमेंट ने स्कूल खोला और इंटर कॉलेज खोला वहां पर? 16 मस्जिद है, 4 मंदिर है, 2 मंदिर है, और 70,000 से ज्यादा लोग बर्बाद हो जाएंगे अगर उनको निकाला जाएगा तो। हम देश के प्रधानमंत्री से अपील कर रहे कि इंसानियत की बुनियाद पर भारत के प्रधानमंत्री, भारत के वजीर आजम को इन लोगों की मदद करनी चाहिए, इनको वहां से नहीं निकालना चाहिए।
तो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, ऑनरेबल हाईकोर्ट के फैसले के बाद किसी प्रकार की राजनीतिक गुंजाइश नहीं बचती है। कहीं पर भी अगर किसी ने अवैध रूप से कब्जा कर रखा है, अतिक्रमण कर रखा है, और कोर्ट के आदेश के द्वारा विधि के सम्यक क्रम में अगर उसको हटाया जा रहा है, तो ऐसे मसलों पर राजनीतिक दलों को राजनीति करने से परहेज करना चाहिए। लेकिन कुछ राजनीतिक दल ऐसे हैं जो अपने सत्ता शासन काल में अवैध बिल्डिंगों को, अवैध निर्माण को, अवैध अतिक्रमण को हमेशा संरक्षित करते रहे हैं। इसलिए कहीं पर भी अगर कोई अवैध कब्जा है तो उसको संरक्षित करना अपनी वो राजनीतिक दायित्व समझते हैं, और इसी राजनीतिक दायित्व के तहत उस ऑनरेबल हाईकोर्ट के फैसले के खिलाफ जाकर के वो इस प्रकार की बातें कर रहे हैं। ये बातें स्वीकार नहीं की जानी चाहिए।
जिस प्रकार से कई वर्षों से जो लगातार हमारे प्रदेश के अंदर जो जिस तरह से डेमोग्राफी को परिवर्तित करने की जो कोशिश की जा रही है, उसके लिए हमारे यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री माननीय पुष्कर सिंह धामी ने जिस प्रकार से, हम निश्चित रूप से ये कह सकते हैं कि प्रदेश के अंदर किसी भी प्रकार से हम डेमोग्राफी चेंज करने की जो लोग सोच रहे हैं उसको बिल्कुल नहीं होने देंगे।
Based on religion, caste, gender, region, language, nothing of this. Why is the government picking and choosing? They need to follow and adhere the norms of the constitution.
Now, viewers, this is a country where political parties get papers to legitimize encroachers. And why do they do it? For votes. And we've seen it in every locality we live in. There are people who come, suddenly set up homes, they legitimize, they're given papers. And it's odd because the very people who said that hum kagaz nahi dikhayenge are now today, and I'm talking about the political class and the activists who asked, called upon. Many members of the community said, don't show your papers. And this, remember, viewers, was in the aftermath of the CA laws being passed by Parliament, are today saying that, look, we have papers. Forgetting that the High Court has gone into all the pros and cons and come to a conclusion. I want to open this up, viewers, because some basic questions need to be asked. And I want to begin first with Waris Pathan, national spokesperson of the AIMIM, and Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress. Let me begin with you, Mr. Jindal, first. What is your problem? The High Court has gone into the merits of this entire case. Not a new case. It's been going on for several years. Hindu temples, Hindu homes, mosques, Muslim homes are all going to be demolished, not because the government is suddenly woken up. It's because the High Court has passed an order after all these years. And it's no secret in India, it takes years in court for these issues to be resolved. But what are we hearing? We are hearing people like you communalizing a demolition drive. This is happening far too often. It has happened in different states. And you know the communal problems that this has bred, this kind of appeasement. Mr. Jindal, why are you doing this?
Good evening, Rahul. Rahul, there are few instances where law and justice, they find themselves at opposite ends. The law is supposed to deliver justice, but sometimes law, it delivers injustice.
Right.
Now, when I'm talking about the state, Article 38 of the Constitution, it directs the state to strive towards social, economic and political justice. Now, these people who have been staying in that land since 1975, they would suddenly be uprooted from their base. They would not be having any home. They would not be having any shelter. In fact, we will be depriving them of the Article 21 right to life. Over here, what we demand is, before the state uproots these people from their dwellings, to make an alternate arrangement so that in these bitter winters, at least they would have some form of shelter. It's not just about illegal slum. There are 4,365 families over there with small children, women. So what is required is now tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the Supreme Court would be giving a verdict on this. And over here, I only remember Harilal Kania, the first Chief Justice of India, who, while taking oath, he advised the court to administer law with goodwill and sympathy for all. So the law must stand in its entirety, deliver justice, and ensure that, even the state ensures that, there is altogether a political, social, and economic justice, and not merely implementation of law, no matter it deprives people of their basic rights.
So viewers, going by this logic, and now pay attention, viewers, the Shah Banu case, Shah Banu should not have been given by the Supreme Court relief. Because this is the logic. The Congress opposed that, saying exactly the same thing, that justice must be done, so it's seen to be done. It cannot prejudice, it cannot deliver injustice. This was Lokesh Jindal's party's position. Shah Banu. Triple Talaq, same thing said. So women emancipation can go out of the window. Injustice must not be done. Hijab matter, pretty similar, viewers. You know the story. Afzal Guru, Yaqub Memon, they have a right to life. These butchers of humanity have a right to life, you see. Injustice, Afzal tere qatil zinda hai, was said. Ayodhya, Shaheen Bagh, the courts took a position, political parties opposed. I've cited about 8 cases. Now, let me bring in Waris Pathan. Waris Pathan, in all these matters, I know the position of your party also was very sympathetic to those the courts ruled against. Now tell me, is there a pattern here of appeasement It is you who's being selective, Mr. Pathan, and your party.
Well, good evening, Rahul, to you and to the co-panelists. Let me start with a couple of couplets which I want to quote. लोग टूट जाते हैं एक घर बनाने में, तुम तरस नहीं खाते बस्तियां उजाड़ने में. Rahul, let me tell you, there are 4,000 families who are residing there since the year 1975. They have been paying the assessment tax. In the year 2016, the state government said that the property belongs to them. Now they say that the property does not belong to them, it belongs to the railway. And mind you, there are 3 government inter-colleges there. There are 5 government-run schools. There is a dharamshala. There are 19 masjids. There are 2 mandirs in that area. Where will these people go, Rahul? It will affect 70,000 people. Modi just said that prior to 2022, every Indian will get a home of his own. Here, those who have got their home of their own, he wants to demolish that. And after High Court, the Supreme Court is there. If
no, are you saying, Pathan Sahab,
look into it? I am quite sure, as the Skempa-Kola matter was taken into consideration by the honorable courts in Mumbai, it was a very famous case, the Skempa-Kola building matter. They have been granted stay and now they are living there. I am hopeful and quite hopeful that these people will definitely be allowed to stay there. And we want the Prime Minister of the country to intervene into it, because this is a matter of humanity. Where will these people go in the freezing winter cold? They are sitting outside. They are protesting. They have a right to protest. They are protesting in a silent, peaceful way. Nobody can stop them, because the question of their livelihood is the question of their livelihood. And where will they go? The young boys, the young daughters are coming, the young children are coming before the media. There are videos all over. We say the young daughter saying, Prime Minister Modi, आपने कहा था बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ. We want to study. If our schools are demolished, where will we go and study? So why this kind of hypocrisy? Why no humanitarian in Delhi? Illegal colonies were regularized by the government. So why can't they regularize penalty? And before demolishing them, has the government given any alternate accommodation to them? No. Merely one fine morning you want to see that a bulldozer comes and you demolish the dwellings of innocent people who have been staying there, paying government
Mr. Pathan, just
tax.
Very quickly.
Why did the government take the tax?
Okay.
Why did the state government take the investment?
Okay, just very quickly, you might be targeting Mr. Modi, though this issue comes under a state government, fair enough. Are you suggesting that the courts of the land have conspired with the BJP to affect an injustice on the minority community settled in this place? Is that what you're saying tonight? Like you have said about the Ayodhya judgment, aap keh rahe the, bastiyan ujaad denge. The quoting a poet. आपने ये बोला है.
Well, with the greatest respect to the honorable courts, let me quote.
The implementer of the verdict. 1 minute, sir. The implementer of the verdict is the state government. No, 1 second, Mr. Pathan. 1 second. Just 1 second. Please, just give me 30 seconds. Just 1 second. Mr. Pathan, fair enough. Yes, the railways center is responsible. Modi should put a stop to all of this. And you're talking about Basti. Ujarne mein, it takes minutes. There were other communities who were asking for their rights, sir. And when they won their rights to the Supreme Court, what did you call it? An injustice. And I'm talking about the Ram Mandir issue, for instance. You always seem to suggest that the courts in this land act in a communal manner. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Pathan? You're a man of the law yourself. You're a lawyer. Please tell me. What is the motive of the court?
Yeah, well, with the greatest... Yeah, now allow me to make my point. Well, with the greatest respect to the Honorable High Court and the Honorable Supreme Court, let me quote Justice J.S. Verma of the Honorable Supreme Court. Justice Verma said, Supreme Court is supreme but not infallible. We do respect the court. Yesterday also one judgment came, 4:1 dissent. I go with the judge. I go with the Honorable Judge who dissented. So you cannot stop me. And if I am erred, I feel that the High Court has erred in passing an order which is per se not good in law, I have all the right to move the Honorable Supreme Court.
Mr. Pathan, if the Supreme Court rules against these people,
against this eviction order as well, against the order of the High Court, and we are hopeful that the Honorable Supreme Court will definitely give an order in our favor.
If the Supreme Court doesn't, hypothetically speaking, should the order be obeyed or not? Mr. Pathan, very quick answer. Yes or no?
Well, we have been obeying the orders. As I quoted Justice Verma.
Let me open this up. Sunita Vidyarthi, BJP, Uttarakhand BJP spokesperson and Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Let me bring him in first. Dr.
What
Ranganathan,
happened
you
in
heard...
the Chennai Mandir case? Did they accept the court's order?
Okay, sir. 2 minutes. Let's put these questions to Dr. Anand Ranganathan. What a reasonable position Lokesh Jindal and advocate Waris Pathan are taking. How do you respond to
Good evening,
this?
Rahul. Wish you a very happy new year and good to see you back. Good evening to my fellow panelists as well. You know, Rahul, I can say this ad infinitum, that the rule of law is an exception, but not a rule in this country. And that's a fact. And I say it without batting an eyelid, that we are a banana republic from the moment we became a republic. And as for वारिस पठान साहब, मैं इनकी बहुत इज्जत करता हूं, लेकिन मैंने इनसे कई बार कहा है कि पठान साहब आप टीवी पे मत आया करें, क्योंकि आप लॉयर हैं, आपके क्लाइंट्स आपको सुनते हैं और कहते हैं जज साहब कि जज साहब मैं अकेले लड़ लूंगा अपना केस, पठान साहब मुझे रिप्रेजेंट मत करिए. It is astonishing. I can understand Pathan Saab being angry against the government, but here he is castigating the court. He is castigating the honorable judges against whom, in front of whom he represents his clients. I am astonished. Matlab, is there such a thing as rule of law, justice in this country anymore? But other than that, I have to say two things, Rahul, and I've said this before. I have a debit card because I'm a poor citizen. You have a credit card. Pathan Saab has an unlimited victim card. यहाँ पे ये विक्टिम कार्ड प्ले कर रहे हैं. अब ये कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है, ये बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट, कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट, इनका कोई लेना देना नहीं है. कोर्ट कह रहा है. और आपने बहुत अच्छा सवाल पूछा पठान साहब से कि अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट एग्रीज विद द हाई कोर्ट, विल यू एग्री? आप इनसे एक चीज और पूछ लीजिए. डज ही एग्री विद द कांग्रेस ओवरटर्निंग द सुप्रीम कोर्ट शाहबानो जजमेंट? एंड 100 on 100 पठान साहब विल से यस. और ये यही चाहेंगे. अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट इनके अगेंस्ट जाता है तो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी या पॉलिटिशियन जो वोट बैंक को प्लेकेट करते हैं वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट ओवरटर्न कर दें. बट हियर राहुल, आई जस्ट 1 minute, आई वांट टू से समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. You see, normally as a scientist, I say there are no versions of the truth. There is only one truth. The DNA is always, B form is always double helical. But here, I am vexed to take a departure from this point of view and resort to Rashomon. Let me give you two versions of the truth. One from a law-abiding citizen like ourselves. And the second from citizens who have, veered towards illegality. So the first, obviously the rule of law has to be obeyed. But the fact of the matter is we are a weak state, starting from the executive, the legislature and the judiciary. We've seen this during the illegal Shaheen Bagh protest. We've seen this during the illegal Farm Bill protest. Supreme Court, the government, they did nothing for a year. So here also I am very confident that the rule of law will not be obeyed. Second, and this is very important, on 23rd October 2019, I'm talking from the way, from the other version of the truth. On 23rd October 2019, no one else but our Prime Minister made thousands of illegal colonies, unauthorized colonies in Delhi legal. Suddenly, overnight, 4 million Delhiites who were living in 1,033 illegal colonies suddenly were made legal. So those who are currently living in illegal colonies all around the country will say, look, on what basis? And by the way, Mr. Modi went against the Supreme Court Council that said, please do not make these colonies legal. But still they did it to placate the vote bank in the hope that they would win Delhi elections. So why wouldn't or why shouldn't these Uttarakhand residents feel that our colonies that are much older than many of the Delhi colonies unauthorized that were made authorized, why shouldn't our colony also be made authorized? And I don't know what the law stands there. But according to me, unequal application of law cannot be an excuse. But in our country, everything goes. So my hunch is that the houses, even though the court has said should be demolished, will not be demolished. And the matter will be stayed in the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court says demolish the houses, some political party will go take the matter to the parliament and the parliament will overturn this. And Pathan Saab will be laughing all the way to the bank, eating biryanis.
You're probably right. I was about to say the same thing. You're probably right. But obviously, different cases have different considerations. Now, viewers, in Delhi, yes, land encroached has been legalized. But the peculiarities might be different. I'm not getting into all of that, but I want you to focus on what the High Court has said, at least as an academic exercise, because it's quite clear that the Supreme Court that is going to hear the matter We don't know what it will say on the 5th, whether it will pass a judgment or perhaps issue some kind of stay, and this matter will then be sort of passed over date after date, tariq after tariq, and we will never have what the High Court's rationale playing out. So let me very quickly talk about that. The High Court said, looking to the geographical constraints of the location of Haldwani railway station, since it adjoins the riverbed area of River Gola, the engineering layout has to be planned in a fashion in order to meet any future untoward contingency which may be caused due to flood or any other geographical calamities which cannot be perceived at a given moment of time, but there would only be a preparedness, and that preparedness in the present case would require an availability of land for the future development of the railways in such an eventuality or otherwise to meet the need of the growing township of Haldwani, where there is a regular and ever going on population explosion. Owing to the aforesaid reasons, we are of the view that since by the documents which have been placed on record before us and which have been analyzed by us, it could be ultimately concluded that no private need, even though it may not be existing in the instant case in relation to the interveners, could have a precedence over and above a public need, and that too on a property which has been otherwise vested with the railways as per the Khevat pertaining to 1959. Since we have, after giving a thoughtful consideration to the respective claims, have ultimately come to the conclusion that the interveners occupiers don't have any legal right which could at all be enforced in a court of law. So great thought has gone in, but Sunita Vidyarthi, let me ask you a simple question here. Your opponents are saying that you are selective, that when it comes to appeasing certain vote banks, you have no problem, like in Delhi for example, but here you have something against the minority community, and therefore you are going ahead with this, put a stay to this. How do you respond?
First of all, good evening everyone.
Good evening.
Congress party, Mr. Jindal and Mr. Pathan has said about the misleading the public. You know, this is the matter of the Honorable High Court and the verdict of High Court. As we all know that the entire land area we are talking about, this is belongs to Indian Railways, and the Honorable High Court has stated his own verdict that the PIL 30/2022, which is filed in the Nainital High Court, it is clearly stated that the land should be vacated within a week or as soon as possible. Our government, you know, this is a matter of the Railway Board and High Court. Our government will work according to the order and verdict of Honorable High Court, and we will ensure in accordance to the Honorable Court. First of all. Second thing, it is not the matter of any community and based on any language or based on any poor community. You know, Pathan sir always talking about the against of Modi ji, against the BJP party. Encroachment of the railway board and land will not be tolerated by our government. Our Dhami government has to be committed to erase all kind of encroachment.
Okay.
Because this
so
is
you're saying you're only following the court order. Following the court order, Samajwadi Party, in fact, tomorrow, viewers, is going to be leading a 10-member delegation led by S.T. Hassan will visit Haldwani tomorrow, so you can expect politics to peak over this. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is showing something. Dr. Ranganathan, what are you pointing towards before I bring in Mr. Ahmed? Abbas Haider,
very briefly, 10 seconds. 1,700 colonies that were authorized, legalized by Narendra Modi were told by the Supreme Court. The government was told, please do not legalize. It is unfair to the law-abiding citizens. Many of those colonies were adjacent to railway stations, to institutions, to hospitals, and yet, looking at the placation of the vote bank, Mr. Prime Minister, he authorized those colonies.
But there have been, of course, demolitions that have taken place. There have been demolitions that have taken place despite local pressure because the courts ordered them. And we know illegally built temples were demolished in Navsari in Gujarat amidst protests by locals. This happened as late as 2022 July. UP, 2 temples, a tomb raised in Muzaffarnagar for widening the Panipat Khatima highway. I didn't hear AIMIM spokesperson or the Congress party come out then and say, look, people's sensitivities are being hurt. you know, their religion, they're being targeted because of their religion. Roadside religious structure in Uttar Pradesh, immediately removed. State government passed that order in March 2021. No one talked about targeting of anybody. So I don't understand. There is a court order. The court order, obviously there are many people who play vote bank politics and they will want to have these sort of rescinded. And there have been cases in the past, but as I said, there are different reasons in different places. I don't know if you know, Dr. Ranganathan, but a large number of people who were living in the encroached colonies in Delhi were actually paying for power, were paying for water, were paying for a lot of things, despite them being completely illegal because everyone was making money out of this. But here the courts have gone into a safety issue.
Just one name for Waris Pathan Saab, Vikas Dubey, the gangster whose house was demolished by Yogi. Your debate, I remember on that night, Pathan Saab praised Yogi Adityanath.
Yes, yes.
तब इनको नहीं लगा कि house demolish हो रहा है.
So that's what I was saying.
So this hypocrisy has to be outed also.
It is. It is being outed. And I want to bring in the Samajwadi Party. No, one second. Let me bring in Abbas Haider Saab.
Let the rule of law take place.
Abbas Haider Saab, when the courts rule against encroachments by temples, other institutions that belong to, for example, the Hindu community or Hindu owners, no problems. We keep quiet. I'm just pointing out the selectivity here. Communalizing court orders, and there is I've talked about it. There's Shah Bano case, Triple Talaq, Afzal Guru, Yaqub Memon, several cases. Ayodhya, we know what your MPs have said. So is there now an attempt to undermine the writ of the law by communalization? Simple question to you, Abbas Saab.
Not at all, Rahulji. We are taking it in a wrong way. Let me tell you that when I heard a BJP leader in your package, he was telling that it is about we will not let any demographical change happen in our state. Now another BJP leader who's sitting here, Ms. Vidyarthi, she just told us that we are just following the court
But
order.
Sir, the court, are you denying that the court has passed the order?
No, I'm not denying. I'm not
So
denying.
then should the court's order not be upheld?
See, first of all, this is an order by Honorable High Court. I'll not comment on that. This would be based on the merit. I'll not say anything about the merit.
So if it is merit, no, hang on. 1 second, Haider Saab, agar merit ki baat aap kar rahe hain, no, if it is about merit, then should not the order be on merit implemented?
Incomplete. See,
should we be communalizing? I'm only asking you a basic question, sir. Forget about everything else. Why attribute communal motives to the courts? You have heard your own MP speaking, your own leader speaking. I played his soundbite out.
Can I complete? Yeah.
No, please.
So we have a 3-tier judiciary in our country. So on 5th of January, Honorable Supreme Court will look into the matter, will look into the decision. Honorable Supreme Court will decide. But here the thing is, we should consider it on a humanitarian ground.
No, that might be so, sir. But can I ask you, when Amit Jamai, Samajwadi spokesperson, said, listen to me, it's BJP's character to work against the interest of the poor, BJP working against Muslims in Haldwani. Is it the BJP or is it the court that has passed the order? You please first make that distinction. And is the court therefore working against exclusively the interests of Muslims? It's a very simple question. And should your leader, excuse me, should the spokesperson, no less, of the Samajwadi Party be communalizing a court verdict? It's a very simple question, sir.
No, not at all. See, there are more than 9 temples in that area. There are
so why is he communalizing? Why is he communalizing?
Hindu houses there. So
why are you spreading communal hate?
I am saying, if you let me speak, I am saying that the government is at fault. Here the government is responsible. Why has the government constructed government school, hospitals on illegal land?
Sir, you were also in power. You were also in power. When were these schools constructed? One second, Mr. Haider. There have been one second. There have been several governments in Uttarakhand, even Congress governments. So let's first find out when these various temples.
No, I'm not here to speak for Congress.
No, I'm not here either. But I'm asking you this question. You are spreading a canard. No, 1 minute. I'm not going down this route at all. Listen. I have conceded the point. Please, Mr. Haider, I began very rationally by conceding the point. And I can tell you the point that in our country, more often than not, papers are supplied to encroachers to legitimize their claims for vote bank reasons. So I'm asking you, having conceded this, is Abbas Haidar's opposition and the Samajwadi Party's opposition and the AIMIM opposition and the Congress opposition also in lieu of furthering vote bank politics? A very simple question to you.
Anand ji, Uttarakhand government has been collecting water tax, has been collecting house tax from those residents,
okay,
and they have selected a valid member of parliament and an MLA, which is apparently from Bharatiya Janata Party. But now,
so let me go back to Sunita Vidyarthi. The charge is, Sunita Vidyarthi, आप इन लोगों से टैक्स लेते हैं, आप इन लोगों से स्कूल फीस लेते हैं, स्कूल जो बने हुए हैं, सरकारी स्कूल and सरकारी colleges. And today, you are celebrating their eviction. So basically, this is a double travesty. Respond to that. Ms. Vidyarthi.
See, Rahul, this is not a matter of appeasement. This is the BJP appeasement, because the Congress party always do the politics of
Ms.
appeasement.
Vidyarthi, yes, Ms. Vidyarthi, 1 minute. No, I'm stopping you here. 1 second. My question is very straightforward. On what basis were you taxing these people if they were on encroached land?
No, we are not taking a revenue only for the Muslim community.
It doesn't matter. You were taking revenue. Why were you taking revenue? Why were you legitimizing, Ms. Vidyarthi, why were you legitimizing an illegal encroachment? It's a simple question. Yes. Why?
See, BJP party, BJP Sarkar has to work with the orders of accordance of High Court.
So the High Court has pronounced. No, 1 second. Sunita Vidyarthi, it's a very simple question. You tax these people, you charge property tax from them. When the matter was in the courts, why were you doing it? It's a simple question. If they were in illegal occupation, why were you legitimizing their claim?
See, this encroachment have done by the Congress party. Congress party is the responsible for
आपने इनसे कभी tax नहीं लिया? I'm asking you on record. Put your hand on your heart. Have you taken any tax?
You have been taking assessment tax,
we are taking taxes for all communities, not
but why?
only the Muslim
No, it's not about community. These are illegal encroachers.
Why? If it is unauthorized and illegal thing, how can you take tax?
Sunita
Vidyarthi, the state government has invested money in the infrastructure there.
The point is, viewers,
you know that. Are you aware about
1 second. 1 second. Let's lower everyone's faders. Very quickly, Dr. Ranganathan, very quickly, I see you raising your hand. There's hypocrisy and duplicity across board. I can only say one thing.
Absolutely.
That the action must be taken as per law. Let's develop the spine to take action as per the law, and let's stop putting vote bank politics ahead of the law. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, very quickly.
Very briefly, Rahul, all of us, including you, me, others, have exposed the hypocrisy. Now we can keep on doing it. Let me give a very quick solution to this. Now, High Court has very rightly said that these houses are illegal and they are encroaching on railway property. Railway has to expand. There are other things that have to expand. So these houses must be demolished. But there has to be a cost. There has to be a punishment to the people who allowed these unauthorized structures to come up and tax. So the solution is that these houses must be demolished and the land given back to the person it belongs, i.e. railway. But the government has to compensate these people and their houses must come up somewhere else, paid for by the governments that allowed these illegalities to come up in the first place.
Viewers, the Supreme Court will now decide. The point is, we have no problems with people going up in appeal, etc. Everyone has a right to do that. But let's stop communalizing. I'm only on that point today. Let's stop communalizing verdicts. You can question them on merit, you can question them on several other factors, but let's stop injecting this horrible venom of communalism and suggesting that the Indian state has a jaundiced eye towards certain people. That would be a complete travesty. At least that much we've exposed tonight. Viewers, I want to move on.